Well, I'd like to welcome you to the next lesson, Lesson 3, the explanation. I guess it is time for a little explanation. I hope you tried the assignment and sat in contentment for 20 minutes. Comfortable, isn't it? For some of you, you may have sat in complete silence, which is wonderful. Continue doing so. It is a wonderful gift to be able to sit in contentment in reality, right? Because then we begin to notice that reality itself is quite a quiet place when we are not in movement. And I had a teacher who used to say that reality gives us a moment of peace with each breath. Breathe it in. So quiet, so calm. Now what do you do with the peace that the universe gives you each moment? Do you invest it in by being peaceful and continuing that cycle, or do you invest it in supporting one argument over another? Right? So we are always in an environment of love, right, and calmness. So you did very well if you found it easy to meditate during that assignment. Continue and enjoy the peacefulness of reality. For the rest of us, the ride is comfortable, but it was not that comfortable, right? It was comfortable, but something else was happening as well. Much of our consciousness, or at least part of it, did not want to cooperate with our agenda to meditate. So we wanted to meditate, but also we did not want to meditate in some ways. We are caught in self-argument. And self-argument is an indication that our present feeling of strength, however strong we feel we are right now, is not our true strength, right? It can't be. We have 100% of our strength available to us. Part of us is working against us. Means that our output, our final output, is less than 100%, right? We are using only a fraction of our true power. This is because our energy becomes misaligned and we have multiple states instead of a single state, right? When we have multiple states of thinking existing at the same time, there is a tendency for some of them to work against each other, right? Once you have a single state of mind, it simply goes in the direction of our choice. So essentially, we wish to meditate and not to meditate at the same time. Meditation is only easy if we have first acquired inner cooperation. First acquired the alignment of our energies, in a sense. Then meditation is easy, right? Just like the folks we just talked about that found meditation very easy in this assignment. No training at all they needed, right? Just to sit down and it just happens, right? This is because they were feeling a moment of pure cooperation, right? Their energies were interested in meditation. And for that reason, they lined up. But usually this does not happen in regular practice, right? That eventually those parts of our energies that have kind of an interest in meditation minorly begin to want to do some other things, right? And they begin to oppose our meditation. And this is when meditation has its greatest value. For we want cooperation to be permanent, right? And permanent cooperation requires us to take a look and see what's happening under the hood. You know, when we start thinking about our possible final state, our most powerful state, we begin to realize that if all of our energies were cooperating in perfection, we would be stronger than we've ever felt, right? Because the way that we work now, when energies work against each other, really it's a form of self-interest, right? One aspect working for itself, having to interfere with another aspect that's in the way, right? And this interaction of energies cannot possibly create an output of greater energy it always creates an output of less energy, because we're expending energy in argument, right? So the goal is to have cooperation permanently. If we could get all of our energies aligned, we would live a conscious life without inner resistance. Consequently, if we are having issues with meditation, this means that we have misalignment in some way. Our natural output is less than it should be, like we talked about. In some cases, and probably many cases, we can be so misaligned that our final output of energy is in the negative, right? That's when we begin to feel like life is taking a toll on us, right? That it is costing us, right? And that we're not being upbuilt by it, that we're not being strengthened by it. So it's important to measure how this math works out so that we can have the greatest output of energy possible. So this is an opportunity, right? An opportunity to use meditation to measure how our energies work, and whether they are cooperating or whether they are working against themselves, so that we can kind of tweak the system to get to the point of having greater energy and power, right? Meditation is the perfect instrument for this, right? Sit still in contentment and watch those things that cannot. And begin to ask a few questions, right? Get some help for these parts of us that can't sit still in contentment. They're discontent. They're not happy. And we're doing nothing to help them. Meditation examines this phenomenon of energy working against itself. I believe that was the original purpose of meditation in the Buddha's day. It was a tool to examine how energy interacted within the mind. Because the Buddha realized that if it was improperly working, that it left us feeling artificially weak when there was nothing wrong with us. We needed to have some help. Our energies were misaligned, and we had powerful energies working against themselves, making us feel weak. What a waste of our power. Meditation tunes our consciousness to increase the output of our energy from negative into the positive, and finally up to 100% of our natural energy available to our use. 100% of our emotions, our love, our openness, and our trust, without feeling scared or threatened by the energies of others. This is our most natural state, and that's why we feel uncomfortable in this world, because we can display none of that in a comfortable way. So, in a few minutes, we're going to talk about the math behind how energy works. And again, I thank you, and see you later. The math is simple. Right now, we have 100% of our energy, our thinking, our love, our emotions, and our actions completely available to us. But it is structured in such a way that it creates weakness. Under the right circumstances, we could be quite free. But say we are not there yet. Say, for example, 30% of our present energy is already working against us, and it opposes our 70% wanting to follow the present path, for example. 100% available, but 30% against 70% means our energy output will only be 40%. We will follow our path, but it will likely fail. Even more amazing is 50-50. At 50% energy already working against us, we find ourselves at 0% energy output. We can find ourselves unable to make decisions. We do not start new projects and will become heavily dependent upon things remaining the same. At 60-40, our urges and fears take over as we find ourselves at a deficit of minus 20%. All of our present thoughts and actions will be related to fears and traumas. In fact, that will not be enough, and no growth will form. Even the few good habits we will hold on to will fall away as they are thought of less and less. This is what can happen when our own energies begin to work against themselves. Sounds scary though, doesn't it? But this is a huge opportunity to those who understand what is happening here, right? The negative part of this equation comes from how we handle events. In this case, they are forming our fears, our traumas, and our repetitive habits, and do so at a cost to our freedom at the present moment. Handled differently, we could have no negative effect or even foster a positive experience. Then we could be our original 100% and then grow even more powerful from that place, right? Depends on how we handle events. So there's something interesting here, right? Amazingly, it is only because we view some events as negative that our energy becomes protective and that our natural output starts to drop. Our views on whether something is positive or negative can create or remove power from our present moment. There is an adjustment here. This is adjustable through meditation, right? Happily, small changes can move the math quickly. Reducing the negative input from 60 to 30% can move us 60 points ahead instantly or very quickly. By continuing, we can reclaim our precious energy, right? The precious use of our thoughts, of our emotions, until we finally reach 360 degrees availability and our true state of being. So can you see what's going on here, right? Meditation is easy when we're aligned. It gives us trouble when we're not. And when it's not, we can see where we're misaligned. We can align our energies and come out with more power, right? Can you see how easy it is to change the math? This is an opportunity. Can you see how powerful meditation can be when it's done like this? Meditation can tune consciousness by removing the effects of fear, trauma, and repetitive habits, restoring our true energy and power, and it does so by ending our ability to see things as negative. We stop seeing things as negative. Soon we will see how in upcoming lessons. Duality ends as part of our reality. This is what's happening. Duality ends as part of our reality. We will no longer live in a world of negative and positive events. Instead, we will only see the single state of love being educated. Some love being more educated than others, but that is the purpose of our journey, for love to become more and more educated and better handled. And this is a state where contentment can form permanently. This is where enlightenment starts.